Oh, beautiful ones. Welcome to a conversation about surrender and flow. What that has to do with your life, your soul mission, your abundance, your enjoyment out of life, your manifestation magic, and so much more. And this is actually something I have gotten pretty damn good at after many years of failing, making a lot of mistakes, and learning to be okay with it. So, not everybody knows about human design, but if you know, you know. I'm a 3-5 line generator, and trial and error is what that 3 line is all about. So, I mess up all the time. I make mistakes. I have made more mistakes than most human beings I know in my life. But here's the really cool part. One is I have learned not to beat myself up about them. I have learned to surrender as they are happening. I have learned to surrender after they happen. I have learned to have compassion for myself without giving myself this external pressure and beating myself up and going like, you stupid moron, how could you? Because first off, none of that is helpful. None of it. The pressure you put on yourself if you mess up is not actually helpful at all, because when you feel bad, when you make yourself feel worse, what it does is it closes down all of your creativity. It activates your nervous system. It puts you into this defensive mode. It puts you into fight or flight. And it just creates this downward spiral into this like perfectionism and talking like crap to yourself. And then you don't have the creativity or the openness or the logic or anything that you need to, first off, fix the mistake. And secondly, see that not all mistakes are actually mistakes at all. In fact, there is this thing that can happen if you stay open and if you play in this level of surrender. Now, this isn't a card I pulled for all of us. This is one I posted about yesterday that people wanted to talk more about. They were like, how do you do this thing? I am really good at it now. So when you can surrender to the mistake, you can actually turn it into a dance move. You can turn it into an opportunity where it might actually be that it was the thing that needed to happen to put you into a new trajectory or for you to learn and grow, or there's this opportunity that comes with it. But the second you start beating yourself up about it and you start being in resistance to what has transpired, mistakes, failures, things didn't go as planned, as soon as you energetically close yourself off and start berating yourself, you have taken yourself out of the game. The game of life is truly to see how open you can stay, how surrendered you can be to the flow of what is, and how then from that place of surrender, you can float or you can actually learn how to fly. And the flight happens when you start to let go of your own will, where your desire to control the outcome very specifically. And that sounds kind of wild, right? Like, why shouldn't you want to control the outcome? We're the masters of our destiny. We're supposed to manifest, our heart's desires. Here's the thing, your heart desire, your soul desire, that, yeah, you can co create with those energies, but it's a co creation because that's working with spirit. And when you are trying to control from the ego level, from your mind level, from your pure human level, it's not surrender. It's not flying. It's not floating. It's not co-creating. It is you micromanaging what is the divine experience of your human expression on earth. It is you trying to control what you can, which is such a farce anyway. Like, I'm sorry, we know we don't ultimately have control over anything except our own internal experience that you can control. But you can't control other people. You can't control the weather. You can't control the stock market. You can't control other things. So the surrender piece is essential, especially if you're making mistakes. But this is just in general. This is for you in your soul mission, your business, your family, your relationships. You need to hear this right now because so many of us are trying to manifest so hard that we get really like locked down and really focused on what we desire as the perfect outcome. We want this. And if we don't achieve it, failure. And then you're like, so stupid. I didn't make that income goal. I didn't. have all the people in my launch. I didn't make it happen. What if all of that resistance, all of that fight was actually what was inhibiting your growth, your capacity to co-create with the divine, and your ability to let things actually unfold with your higher levels? So when we surrender, which is letting go of resistance and trying to control from the ego, and we actually have to be in full nervous system relaxation. So it takes safety in the body. It takes faith and trust. It takes feeling safe enough to release all of the fight that you have and coming first into this full acceptance of what is. So in this example of me making a mistake where I accidentally messed up an email and it went out 2 days beforehand and it confused some people and some people were waiting for me in a Zoom room. I never arrived. Like, I could have gotten into the fight energy, like, oh no, how could this happen? And started to beat myself up. I could have rallied against it, like, like looking for someone to blame, whether it was myself, my teams. All of that would take me out of the creative flow. And it would take me out of my energy and put me into this state of scarcity. Literally scarcity. That's what that is. And the field and frequency of abundance, where all possibility lies and we're co creating with the universe, can only happen when we have that relaxed openness to what is, when we actually fully accept it instead of fight against it. Now, fully accepting what is doesn't mean we're going to let it continue to be that way, ironically. Right. So surrendering is not waving a white flag like in battle and saying, I'm giving up, and then I'm not going to ever do anything about it. It's accepting what is in this moment. It's not fighting against what is in this moment. And then in that acceptance, in that surrender, you relax your defenses. And it's only in that state that we can start to clear out density and do healing work, first off, in a state of surrender. But then when we can start to really channel through the flow of energy that is available to us from the infinite, from source, from the divine, and we can have that come through from our highest self or whatever, from God, from the universe, from the infinite, all that is, creator, source, whatever. When we can be open enough to let that energy flow through us, when we're in a surrendered state, then we can calibrate beyond what the human can handle. When we can start to receive inspiration from perspectives and frequencies that are higher than the ego's, let's just try to survive and get what we need, okay? That might be in comparison to other people, or it might be what we've been told we need, you know? This is where we're able to have divine inspiration. This is where we actually can raise our perspective to beyond what the human is, and we can look and see it from maybe our highest self and see, this mistake is actually going to lead you to something that's even better that you could never have dreamed of, not in a million years, from your limited perspective. Sometimes we need mistakes to give us information or take us in a different direction, or just to learn from, right? To learn how to roll with it. Because I tell you what, if you're on a soul mission to be of service, to be a leader, to be a healer, because I know if you're watching this, you do have this in you. You're here to help. You're here to lead. You're here to be an example of what is possible. You're here to be abundant AF. You're here to be so magical, because that's what you actually are. If you can't handle making mistakes right now where you're at and beat yourself up for them, you're not going to be given opportunities to mess it up at the bigger levels, because you won't be able to handle it and it will take you out, and the universe will protect you from that. So your capacity to navigate things going awry, whether it's your mistake, a mistake on the team, something happening that is unforeseen, if you can't handle that where you are right now, you're not going to be given more if you can't handle it with grace and ease. If you are fighting against it, fighting tooth and nail, beating yourself up. So in co-creative energy with the universal forces, where we're in that relaxed state and we have said, you know what? I have desires, I have dreams, but I'm not so tightly attached to outcomes that I could possibly be what is the word? It's like prideful enough and egotistical enough to think that I, from a human level of experience, know best as to how everything should go. Like that's the ego way of saying like my way or the highway and anything else is not what it should be. Because your higher levels have plans that are beyond your comprehension. That's how this game works. And if we try so hard to control, we cannot be in surrender. And if something happens to manipulate whatever it is for an outcome that is in eventually going to be even better than you can even imagine, like you're going to miss the opportunity to fly, to co-create with spirit, right? So there is this need for us right now to let go of trying to control, manipulate, and have outcomes that we are exactly as we desire from our human level. There is still an ability to try, not try, but to manifest, to co-create, to create, to do things, but with this energy of surrender that says, you know what? I have a dream, I have a desire, because you're getting it from spirit, from your heart, from something that is not just your human trying to keep you safe, right? Not trying to keep you alive. When you have that, you go, okay, what's my next step? What's my next step? And you allow yourself to have that guidance. But if you've got a desired outcome, you freaking trust and you go, this or something even better. And that's the wildest part. That's what takes the full surrender. It's the faith and the trust. If it doesn't go according to plan, that is actually leading you to something even better. And that might sound like you're absolutely delusional. That might sound like you were living in some la la fantasy land, but I promise you, it is the key. If you can install this program, that life is leading you to something even better all of the time. And that might walk you through challenges that you require to grow, to be able to get what you asked for, to be able to hold what it is that you came here to do. Then you're going to have this openness to it. If mistakes happen, you go, okay, great. What is this bringing me instead? You can extract the lessons. You can see be grateful for the gift of the mistake in the moment instead of going, no, not this. We're all human. You might have those moments where you go, shoot, especially if it hurts, especially if it doesn't feel good, especially if there is discomfort. But when you can actually surrender fully and maintain the perspective that the mistakes are actually all part of the growth process, then it just allows you this flow. It allows you to tap into the power of the divine that you are, and also have this next level creativity. This next level creativity is going to bring you the places and spaces and opportunities and things like that and challenges that will train you for or move you to where you are actually supposed to be. Right? There is this magic in the flow, and the flow is only accessible through surrender. If you have a plan and you stick to your human plan and nothing ever goes astray, you might reach incredible heights of success, but the magic isn't there, right? The magic comes from co-creating with spirit. Magic comes from allowing yourself to also be guided by your higher levels that have the creativity to put you in places and spaces and rooms that are going to like rearrange things in ways that your human brain couldn't have possibly written out in a screenplay or in a manifestation vision board. And I have walked through so many examples of this in my life. I want to give you one example so it's not just all fluffy. The example I want to give is when I said about 13 years ago to the universe, Spirit, bring me an opportunity to share my gifts with the world. And Spirit said, go take your hula hoops and go busk at this art walk festival. And I did. I never actually wound up busking, but Spirit put me in a place and space where a friend of mine said, go hula hoop for my friend and her friend who have never met before. Go hula hoop for that kid that's with them. And that lady that I just met that day then hired me to be a performing and teaching artist with her. And I worked with her for like 5, 7 years, changed the trajectory of my life. I would never have in a million years said, I want to become a teaching artist doing dance and hip hop and circus and all of these things in elementary schools. Didn't know that was for me. It wasn't a dream I was holding for myself. And it wasn't the most perfect divine thing that I have ever experienced. One of the, yes. So when we try so hard to vision it from our mind, from our ego, from current level of experience, we are creating a restriction. There's no surrender. There's no opportunity to flow. There's no opportunity for the higher levels to come in and say, yes, and I know you got a dream. You want to do something great, but did you know it's greater than you can ever possibly imagine? There is so much opportunity for you to start to surrender a little more and let go and be in the flow of energy. And if mistakes happen, if you screw up, if it doesn't go as planned, being in the energy of, okay, what is this teaching me? Or where is this taking me that's actually going to be even better? As you're stepping into more of the soul mission stuff, which all of us are, there's a whole new level of mastery that has come up for us that is available should you choose to step into it. How do we get to support ourselves through that? Because you got to coach yourself through it. You got to be your best advocate, coach, like guide, and also support yourself in connecting with the divine. So I'm going to pull a couple more cards from the Elemental Forces of Creation deck. Said that surrender one was one from yesterday I posted about, and it sparked this conversation that was so rich. But what does our collective of people that are watching this now and watching this in the future, the people that are being drawn to this conversation right now, what do we need to hear? I'm calling that in. And when people are saying, like, I'm doing a reading for the collective, I saw someone post the other day about that. Like, what collective? The Yanomami tribe in Africa, or like all of the people? And I'm like, it's for the people that are ready to hear the message right now, who resonate with this frequency in this moment, in this now. So that's what that's about. So let's just begin here. What do we need to hear? These cards are always perfect. Oh my gosh. Spark. So when I see spark, and tell me in the comments, like, take a breath. What does this mean to you? What is this telling you first? Like, because yeah, I'm feeling it hit for a bunch of you where you're like, oh, okay. Yes. So the spark is your spark of creativity, passion, divinity, energy, excitement. I've been feeling a little flat lately. I had to let everything go in order for my next level to drop in, which was that I am supposed to teach the energy work that I've been doing with clients for many years. And I needed to like release a whole bunch of stuff. And it's been kind of tricky to get momentum back. So I was asking one of my former coaches, I was in a workshop with her the other day. It's like, what's the next thing that I need to do to get my spark back? Because I'm doing this New Earth seminar on Tuesday. I hope you can all come to that, because I know that I'm here to help healers step into that next level of alchemy and leadership and abundance and magic. And we have so much opportunity right now. And I know I am here to help the helpers, not the people who are not the helpers are helping yet. I'm here to help the helpers. And I've known that my entire life. So my beautiful coach, Kelly Marie, was like, you need to receive. You need to receive pleasure. You need to rekindle your sacral energy with pleasure and passion. And it's like that sexual energy, which is our life force energy, our creativity, that she's like, that get that motor running. Get your husband involved with that. He's up for the challenge. Get that motor running. And then you are going to see that overflow. You are going to see that go into every area of your life. And I was like, oh, I thought getting my spark back was like, I need to meditate more or dance more, or if it's a business strategy. No, this was me personally reigniting that spark of passion, not for my work, but like in my body. Yeah. That's for some of you too. Is it getting hot in here? Is it just me, that spark? And it doesn't have to be through sexual practices. It can be, but sexual energy is life force energy. It is creativity. It is how things are actually created in this realm, right? Sacral chakra, that kind of creative energy of the way that creativity happens on earth, whether you're building a business or a baby, like there is this life force energy that we can only access if we feel safe, first off, but then that passion, that spark gets to, rise up through us. And then when we are overflowing with it, it just goes out into the world. And that's where the magic happens. So finding your spark after you've surrendered, and you feel safe enough to fully allow yourself to receive inspiration from someone else or from the divine or from your partner or from the world at large or from your work, like, and then let that spark tell you and teach you what it needs to grow brighter, to get lighter, to illuminate you so you feel magical and lit up. Breath. So take a deep breath in. Yes, leaning into it through your physical actions. So important here. And we got another fire card. So we're in an action taking phase, but we always are, right? Because even rest is an action. We need aligned actions though. So will being your personal will. This is really interesting. Your personal will and divine will mixed together to really lean into this conversation. I was talking about surrendering to divine will, but then there's your will, right? That energy in the solar plexus that is activated through that sacral energy. It's really interesting. We're working up through the energy centers, like from the root up, from feeling safe enough to surrender, being held, then tapping into that spark of passion in the sacral, coming up to the solar plexus. Your will, your personal will is going to meld and fuse with that divine will. And the co-creation is where the magic happens, right? It is still your responsibility to stoke your fire and use your will appropriately. And I'm hearing for all of us, refocusing on what actually matters. I'm hearing we need to refocus on what will actually move the needle forward. And this isn't just business stuff. I'm always about the beingness first, so the business can with more grace and ease. But a lot of us are spending too much time on stuff that isn't actually important. We're exerting our will. You're fighting battles that don't need to be fought. You're expending energy in places that are just going to deplete you. So I'm seeing this realignment necessary, which might be why there's like this upward movement through that central column of energy centers. And your will gets to guide you as you are guided. And there's this very, just infinitely reciprocal energy with the divine and you, but getting into, right? My crown just started tickling. Energy is coming through. We're all going to get an activation here. We're all going to get an activation, an invigoration of remembering we have so much freaking power. And some of us have given away the power. Right. And it's interesting, especially if you're playing with a surrender and divine will, you can give away too much of your power to the divine, by the way. It is co-creative. You don't get to say, like, I'm surrendering and then I'm never going to do anything again. And spirit's just going to bring it all for me. That's not how it works. You are an emissary of the divine light in form, and you need to take aligned actions and do the things in order to create, because you're a creator being, in order to be aligned. So take your freaking power back from the places and spaces that you have been leaving it, the people too. Some of you it's people, some of you it's partners, some of you are even giving too much power to your kids. I've been there, no judgment, right? All of me come back to me, cleansed, cleared, purified, and divinitized. I say that so many multiple times a day. All of me come back to me, but not just all of me come back to me, like cleansed, cleared, purified, divinitized, so that when it comes back, I can utilize that power for creation and not it's not distorted, and I'm not using it for manipulation. And there's a couple of you who have been using the divine will that you have inside of you in a way that is not purely aligned. So check your integrity on that. You are so powerful. Have you been exerting a little bit too much of your will in situations where there would be an opportunity for you to lean back as well? So will is a really important thing to constantly be looking at the balance. What is necessary for the balance so it's in right relationship? So you can co-create with the divine, with everyone around you, and you're not trying to manipulate. You are not even trying to, you are co-creating. Can you feel that energetic difference? It's really interesting here. So, all right, let's see what's next. This is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And I was curious, since we've been going up the ladder, if we were going to land at the heart next. And I feel like we have. This can be in any energy center, in any action, in any relationship, but embodying wholeness is so important. This is taking that fine tuning, refining, and aligning of all of your energies and bringing it together instead of being compartmentalized. Compartmentalization happens when we are playing in the field of scarcity and separation. It's not just field, it's a frequency bandwidth that Earth has played in for a really long time that we're learning to expand out of, and your leaders in arising out of this frequency bandwidth. So the bandwidth of abundance, of wholeness, of unity is the one we want to play in, because that's where the magic is available. That's where everything is possible. But separation is where the fear and the scarcity and the sadness lives. That's not to say we can't feel ways as we're embodying wholeness. This is about your humanity and your divinity intertwining and becoming oneness. It's the frequency of unity consciousness, but it's also the frequency of and also instead of either or. It's the frequency of acceptance. You cannot get here without surrender. You cannot get to wholeness if you are rejecting parts of you. So this is such a key piece. So I think the reason it's showing up for us in the heart space right now is that there are parts of us that we have rejected. Sometimes it's our divinity, sometimes it's our humanity, sometimes it's the intersection of both. But take a moment and go, like, for me to be moving to this next level or integrating where I'm at so that I can move to the next level of abundance and being on soul mission and impact and radiance in this life, are there any pieces of me that I have kept separate, that I have not illuminated with love and brought into the wholeness that our hearts are supposed to operate in? The divine human template is wholeness. I am on this mission, and I was told, actually, it was really interesting, a little bit more about it, right? Like 2 weeks before COVID happened. I was taken out with this illness. I was like purging. I was laid out flat. I could not move for 2 days while I was receiving these upgrades. And Spirit was like, you are here to support the reconstitution of the Lemurian body. And I was like, what is that? They're like, we'll tell you later. And I've come to understand that it is the divine human template that we were supposed to carry, that we do still have availability to, where we are in that bandwidth of wholeness, unity consciousness, and that's a decompartmentalization of all of our inner realms. So they're no longer separate. It includes, the evolution of the chakras and the energy centers. It includes no longer keeping our mind and our heart and our actions and our spirit separate, their physical body as well. It is the reunification of all. So this wholeness is an essential step for your luminous evolution so that you can do what you came here to do. And it's going to happen in stages. But I really want to just say, if there's a part of you that you've been rejecting and ignoring, it's time to look. We had inside the Creation Coach Academy the other night, when we were looking at natal charts, a lot of people who have some Scorpio aspect and also some Virgo aspects that they had been shunning, they had been rejecting a little bit. And it was time to bring them into the wholeness and the whole. And if you are rejecting a part of you because you're like, this is a weakness, it's just a strength that's turned up too high, like on the radio dial. So, for example, some of these people that had been really stuck were playing with this Virgo aspect or archetype inside of them, and it had been cranked up to perfectionism. And that perfectionism was blocking them from doing anything. When that perfection is in right relationship and it's aligned and it's balanced, that is a strength I don't actually have a lot of. I am the like slap it out and get her done. And thank God I've got women on my team who can proofread my stuff. I did the email thing that I screwed up with myself. I swear I did it right. I double checked. I still made a mistake with it. So I have honored and accepted the part of me where I make mistakes. And that's just one of my beautiful parts, because when I make mistakes, I learn really fast and I grow and I move and I create more abundance and magic and up leveling faster than most people I know, because I'm willing to make the mistakes. And when that's turned up too high, then I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall and nothing is really happening. So again, I have to calibrate that willingness to make mistakes with, the spectrum. People that have the perfection paradigm, they need to calibrate that, so they are making sure things are going to go properly, because there are things that do need to be perfect. Perfectionism turned up too high is going to just block creativity, right? It's this interesting balance. So feeling into that wholeness that you require. And I'm just I'm thinking we need to hear about this from a different perspective now. And the sacred union is next. So funny. Embodying wholeness and then sacred union. This sacred union is only possible with this, which is only possible from this. Sacred union, I'm not talking with a partner. I'm talking internally here right now. Is your greatest opportunity when all parts of you can come into sacred union. Your masculine, your feminine, your divine inner child, that androgynous spark of the divine, when they are all in sacred union, body, mind, heart, soul, and you are completely aligned, then you can have sacred union with the divine that you are, and remember who you are and create from that place. It's so good. It is so good. When you can touch this, when you can taste this, let me tell you, it is blissful. It is, it is worth working towards. It is worth striving for. It is worth all the clearing and the healing and the purification and the shadow work and the making mistakes and the effort and the realizing that you're making too much effort and you got to release and it's worth all of it. I promise. Peace and possibility when you are able to create this divine union in and of yourself, and then with the divine, and then maybe even with a partner in this lifetime. Worth it in every way. So part of your soul mission, part of your abundance is to really take that embodying wholeness to the next level and be in divine union with yourself first. And when you do that, when you can do this, the reason it's so powerful is when you are in that full alignment with the divine, with your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, your spirit, your actions, then you can flow with what is, and you have the creative forces of the universe working with you. There's no resistance. If it is a mistake, you just turn it into a dance move, and it's actually taking you to where you need to be, even if it's not where you wanted to go. And there is this flow. There's this flow that feels so freaking good. And if you've ever reached flow state, you know that it is what anthropologists have called peak experience. I actually have an anthropology degree. So when I saw the float state studies, and I was also a flow artist who was like experiencing this in my dance and in my movement and then teaching it, I was like, yes, it is a peak experience. It's a spiritual experience. It's a meditative experience. It is an experience that is incredible. It doesn't just have to be in a movement, because usually they're talking about like when you're running, when you're dancing, maybe you get that when you're driving. I've experienced it as a server, a waitress, a manager, like where you're just in flow. I've experienced it walking, doing the dishes, but I also know how to experience that in life. Not all of the time, but when I have been doing my practices to remove the density of all of the traumas and dramas that life has thrown at me or was in me from my ancestry, and I tap back into that divine flow through me, then life is that flow, that sacred divine union. I don't know if I can tell you though how good it feels. It's kind of something you have to experience. Otherwise, you're like, okay, Casey, yeah, divine union sounds lovely. Nice little fantasy fairy tale. Must be. You're just like, it's not about your union with somebody. That's great. It is the full union of self with self. And then from that place, then you can unify with, again, the divine, which is also self. And it's so good. I wish I could explain it more. So I feel like we've got one more card here. One more card to anchor it all in about what you need to hear right now about surrendering and being in flow so that you can tap in and create from this divine energy of co-creation. And it's regeneration. If you've been running yourself ragged, you can't do any of what we've just been talking about. Regeneration has to happen to get to a state where you can actually do any of this. But here's what I'm really wanted to, because you know that, right? You're burnt out, you're crispy, you can't get to any of this higher level stuff. That's why you have to take care of your human. That's why you have to take care of exercising and feeding yourself well and getting enough sleep and all of these things. We're rolling our eyes because we know, but are you doing it? I know you're not doing it to the degree that you need for your next level. Otherwise, you'd already be at the next level. It is constant. It is an evolution. It's part of our luminous evolution. We have to get continually better at regenerating. But here's the cool part. After putting in effort, and you can, if you learn how to continually regenerate, then you are going to be able to have this energy from it. It's an upward spiral. Oh, my kid just kicked my light around. That scared me. So I'll be finishing up with this card here, but she might want to pull one for us. Um, she's just going to stay off camera though. The regeneration needs to be constant. The regeneration is something that you get to do moment to moment when you tap into that divine union. Not just yet, Charlie. I'm just going to talk about this. Okay. When you get to that space of divine union, you learn how to pull that energy through you from the divine, and you're no longer working from your own battery, and you're actually able to constantly be reinvigorated and regenerated from the universe. That is this piece. Your Taurus fields are fully open and activated, and you are connected, and you're not trying to do it all alone. This is a really essential piece, but your capacity to regenerate yourself is going to be essential on the journey to stepping into this next level of soul mission, abundance, being able to hold more, especially when you're going to screw it up and you're going to make mistakes, right? Being able to regenerate and recoup after them, so essential. So, Charlie, do you want to, is this the card? Okay. So my daughter, my 7-year-old, has given us this card, and she's sending you kisses as well. This is your etheric allies. This is how you're going to get there most easily. Your etheric allies, and doesn't this go so nicely with this? So funny. Etheric allies are your luminous team, Gaia, the elements, the divine, all of those beings that are with you all the time. You don't necessarily talk to. They are with you. And I'm hearing for this regeneration and the embodying wholeness and all of that, it's very much about connecting with Gaia and right, this divine elephant. This must be for somebody too. You need a little elephant magic in your life as well. So all of these things together are going to support us. So surrender and flow, feeling safe enough to let go of control so that you can really be in receiving the passion, receiving the spark, the creativity, which will support you in activating the right relationship of your divine will, right? If you're trying to control, if you're trying to force, if you're trying to manipulate, it's also that will, right, that is not going to let you surrender. So all these pieces are working together, co-creating, and then we can get into that place of embodying wholeness, which can lead us to that beautiful, sacred union with spirit, with source, with self, with others. And then finally, call on the etheric allies so you don't have to frickin' do it all yourself. That's another part of the surrender. So it takes us full circle. Not trying to do it all yourself. Allowing your team, the earth, source, your highest self, whoever you work with, to help you and support you and guide you, right? Especially if you're going, my favorite is just going straight to source and highest self, allowing that guidance to come through you so that you are working with it, right? Those higher levels, they just have a better perspective, right? When you are you at your human level and you're standing in front of a bunch of trees, you don't know if it's a few trees or a trillion trees of like an arboreal forest, unless maybe you've got a map. But I'm saying from our perspective, you can't see what is there. Higher perspectives, your highest self, other levels and layers that are literally either able to have a more eagle eye perspective or that highest self outside of space and time perspective, they can give you more of what will be optimal because you're not going to be able to see it from your vantage point right now. So being able to shift your perspective up and down to the divine, to that higher level, is going to give you that creativity that you couldn't see from the ground. So I know we're all here. Big things and big magic, even if that is just you being a channel for divine energy to flow and emanating it to the world around you. If you are someone that is here to do it as a business, though, I do really want to invite you to come to the seminar on July 18th. If you can't make it live, there is a replay. If you're watching this after that, there is a replay you'll be able to access almost instantly. And we're going to be talking about what is coming through that higher perspective about what the future is going to be bringing to us as leaders who are learning how to work with the new paradigm energy. And that new paradigm is abundance, infinite possibility, co-creation, divine union, wholeness, all of those things that we were just talking about today, so that we're able to lead and support and help and heal others from that level instead of the old energy of separation, manipulation, scarcity. Ugh, doesn't even feel good to talk about. So in that conference, we're going to talk about the future, about the opportunities, about where we're headed as leaders. And there's going to be things that you'll be able to apply right away to your business. And we'll talk about next steps and all kinds of fun things like that. So let me know if you've got questions, comments. I wasn't really looking at them while I was watching this because I was just really into the energy. But thank you for your presence. Thank you for doing what it is that you're here to do and for hanging out with me today. It has been a beautiful way to spend a Saturday. I think I'm definitely going to do more of these because every time I do, I'm like, why don't I pull cards and talk about it more? It's one of my favorite things. And these cards just help me channel through like the concept that is needed to speak. I don't need cards to do that, but it's just kind of fun to have the visuals. And this deck of the 5 elements and 90 teachings of the elements make up the all that is. So they will give you exactly what you need in whatever form it goes to. And they're just like this portal to the possibilities of the infinite. So if you don't have your deck yet, elementalmanifestation.com. They're so fun. Everybody that I know that has gotten a deck is like, they're perfect. They're so good. I love it. People are bringing them on vacation. I'm getting pictures of people at the, at the beach, like pulling carts and stuff. It's so wonderful to see. So these are the pieces that we need right now to remember to be able to be the most magical versions of ourselves that we can be so that we can share that with the world. Remember, it's all internally so that we can share with the world, and your light is essential. So support yourself through all that you're moving through with as much love as you can muster. Okay. That is one of the other keys. I am sending you so much love for this beautiful Saturday. If you're not already registered for the seminar, I'll put the link in there. You can find it all over my socials. And I'm just sending you so much love. You're welcome, beautiful ones. I'm so glad they resonated. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Do something to play. Okay. Bye, loves.